Hey everyone, how are you doing? My name is Regalado, the founder of Route the Service Platform. It's a sales platform for the commercial cleaning services industry. I am also the owner of Rozalado Services, a family-owned commercial cleaning company. So welcome to Cleaning and Cocktails, a show where I get the opportunity to sit down with cleaning industry experts and share stories, talk shop about the industry. So grab your cocktail, listen in, and I hope you guys enjoy the show.
Hey, I'm Tim Conn from Image One Facility Solutions. We are a janitorial franchise company located in Rolling Meadows, Illinois. And Ricky, I'm glad that you're here with us today.
Yeah, I'm excited
to come and do a tour and talk a little bit about what we do here. Yes, yeah, so this is where it all starts. You know, Image One Facility Solutions, the corporate office. And you know, in the front here, we've got our reception. We highlight some of our franchise owners and the goals that they've achieved recently. And as you walk around the office, you'll see different things that we've been recognized for, you know, by Entrepreneur Magazine, their 500 list, top 200 franchises for Franchise Business Review. We highlighted some of our franchise owners here in the One Club, which is exciting for them as they hit different goals. They become part of the One Club. Yeah, so people get bumped off though as new people come up. You know, so you got to keep it going and keep your game going if you want to stay up on the wall. And this is our training room. And unfortunately with COVID, it slowed down a little bit doing training in the offices for a little while. But all of our staff is back in the office now. Okay. We gave them all the opportunity to come back if they wanted to be in the office or if they wanted to stay and work from home. It was their choice, and you know, everybody came back.
This is great.
It took us 30 years to get to the point where we had a big training room like this. But it was something I always envisioned, so we could bring our team members in for big corporate meetings. You know, we reorganized the room. It can be one giant conference room table. Or if we're doing a training session like we did last week, we set up with computers to train on our software, which we can talk about later. But really, I wanted it to be the company colors, the branding, everything that represents Image One. We up on the wall, we've got our core values listed and our mission statement for our franchise owners. And the acronym that I love is HEART, which is habits, ethics, accountability, respect, and teamwork. And that's huge. And then up on the wall, up over your shoulder, we've got a trademark tagline, a difference you can see. And then recently said, you know what? People deserve to have good cleaning. And so we changed it. So now we're trademarking that one as well. So it's a difference you deserve. Because I think that's really what all of our clients, not just ours, but all of them in the industry deserve to have a good, clean office space for them, for their team members, and for their customers that are coming in to visit their facilities.
Now, Tim, I got to say, again, I love this. This excites me, right? But this is not just for the franchisees. This is for your staff.
Yeah, this is for our staff as well. Absolutely.
Do they go through the same regiment that a franchisee would go?
They do. Yeah, they go. We train them in all areas of the business. Depending on what they're working in. If they're in sales, they got to learn about operations. They got to learn about telemarketing. They need to learn really the whole back end of the business as well. And we do training on a regular basis with our whole team, and we do our monthly all staff meetings where we bring the whole team in, and that's about 20 people. And so this room accommodates that well.
Nice.
Because we are a franchise company, we don't have to store a lot of equipment or supplies.
Okay.
Because our franchise owners down this way are the people who really own most of the supplies, actually all the supplies and all the equipment for their accounts. But we do have some stuff that's here, not a whole lot, and I haven't been in here in a while, so I have no idea what it looks like. This is going to be a big surprise. So you can see it's kind of a little bit of everything from a little bit of equipment to the branded microfibers that we have to just our old billing stuff and a variety of different things. Okay. It's not a traditional janitorial closet like you guys would, or a janitorial supply room like most of you guys would have. Yeah. Ours is very unique, again, because we don't have a lot of that stuff on site, because the franchise owners are the ones who have that.
And that's what we're going to get into, right? I mean, but I do like, again, the branding. Do you feel like you have to stand out with
absolutely. And I think branding is so important for any company. Franchise or traditional, it doesn't make a difference. You need to have that brand. You need to own that brand and get it out there. Whether we wrap cars. Everybody wears the Image One logo when they're going out to clean in the evenings. They can either have a smock or T-shirt, ball caps, everything.
Well,
it's important to have that.
Franchises, especially, they're buying into you.
Yeah,
the brand,
absolutely.
Right? They need the support system of you guys, not only for administrative stuff, but out in the field.
Right. But this is the room where it all starts, and this is our inside marketing room. So right now we've got it set up for 6 people. We actually had room for some more, but we decided to keep people spread out and move them to some different offices just for their own comfort, knowing that they're spread out a little bit further than a normal cubicle setting. And but the 6 people that sit in this room, every day they're sending emails and they're doing dials and they're researching companies that we're going to set appointments for the franchise owners to go out and sell.
Now, Tim, is that something you see? Because I know for a franchisee, it's got, when I first started in the business, it was scary to try to sell my services because I really didn't know the services that well. So
Right.
Is everybody here as well educated on the service they're selling? And are they selling on Image One behalf or for the franchisee themselves?
Yeah, all they're doing here is setting appointments. Okay. So they're setting appointments either for the inside salespeople that sell on behalf of the franchise owners here in Chicago, okay, or they're setting appointments for the franchise owners that are across the country.
And they're able to go.
And they go and they do their own sales. And that was why we developed the software.
Yeah.
Because that enabled them to go out and sell on their own. Because someone that doesn't have the knowledge, yeah, it walks them through the whole process, which is awesome.
And that's one of the, we'll get into that later, but that's one of the things I know that I recognize that's different than most franchises.
Right.
You're empowering them to sell.
Absolutely.
Right? Like
that's what we want them to do.
Yeah.
We want them to be in charge of their own business, go out and grow their own business, and grow it to any size that they want to.
Hey guys, another episode of Cleaning and Cocktails here, and I'm super stoked. This is our first time going into the office environment of our fellow cleaning companies. So I'm super stoked to have Tim Conn here from Image One out in my backyard in the Chicagoland suburbs. Cleaning and Cocktails, you guys know, it's about us getting to be able to empower our cleaning industry, showcase stories of fellow cleaning business owners, and just really shed a positive light on our industry. It's been so good for me and great for many others. So Tim, thank you for jumping on, man.
Oh, hey, thanks for coming out here today and seeing our office and talking to me a little bit about what we do. Big fan of what you're doing. It's very cool, and it's great to shed a little light on the goings on inside the industry, because a lot of people don't realize it, and whether it's benefiting our fellow companies, our peers in the industry, or other people, that might be looking at it. I think it's great.
Yeah, and before I get to, I'm going to do a cheers here because I always forget to. The show's called Cleaning and Cocktails.
Right.
So we have our cocktails here, guys. Let's do a cheers, Tim.
Cheers.
Again, thank you so much for being on.
And again, thank you for having me.
Let's jump right in.
All right. Cool.
All right. So usually I would say, Tim, introduce yourself and talk a little bit about the company. But give me 1 second first, because if I read this right on the website, it shows, and this is something me not knowing personally, but did you get into the industry at 14 years old?
I did.
As a technician or as a business owner?
Both, because when you start, you're both.
That is unbelievable. So we'll lead right into that right there. Right, like at 14 years old, like. How did that happen? Like, who got you involved?
So my parents were always in business for themselves.
Okay.
And they owned a 2-story, 10,000 square foot office building, multi-tenant office building. They occupied probably 25% of it, 2,500, 3,000 square feet maybe. And they needed someone to clean it. And, I'm in high school and going to start driving soon. So I want to have money to buy a car. And, they wouldn't buy me anything. It's up to me to fend for myself. And I said, hey, can I clean your building? And they said, yeah, sure. So we went and found a commercial supplier and got a big, huge Clark vacuum and mops and buckets and all the stuff that I would need. And I started my company, started cleaning for them.
Oh, that is, you just don't hear that all the time. That's why normally I say, all right, now get into your story. But that stuck out. I wrote that down. At 14, I can't even remember what I was doing. I was playing. I was free. I definitely wasn't making money. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was definitely the exception to the rule. And but through high school, I just continued to grow the company. When I started driving, then I was able to go anywhere to clean. It wasn't just my parents' office building. So when I started walking door to door in the strip shopping centers, washing windows, mm-hmm. and met 2 women that owned 2 different businesses right next door. One of them was a sign shop, and the other one was. It was like a shipping place, but it was before the big national chains and the big franchises that got into that like they are now. So it was just an independent business. And both of them told me, they said, Tim, you got to come back here on Wednesday night. We're having a networking group. I'm like, what's a networking group? I had no idea what they were talking about. And they kind of explained it. I was like, all right, I'll come back. So I went back and met 10 or 12 people that were in this networking group, and got some contracts out of it. So I was like, hey, this is very cool. And one of the guys that was in it was from AT&T phone stores. And this was back in 1986, I think.
So you were doing multi-site accounts, right?
Yeah.
Right from the get-go.
But in 86, there were no cell phones.
Oh, yeah.
They used to sell landlines and business systems.
Okay.
So, we started cleaning their store at Old Orchard Mall up in Skokie.
Up north.
Yep. And, after we were doing that one for probably a year or so, word got around inside their managers' meetings, and I way underbid it. I was doing 3 times a week service for, I want to say it was like $260 a month.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
But again, I was 16 years old.
Yeah, so
so it was like, I think it was like $30 a clean or $26 a clean or something like that. But it was like an hour and 20 minutes each time I went there. So I was super happy. It was great. But by today's standards, even by that day's standards, I was way low. But it didn't matter because it was just me. I was just an independent operator, yeah. But we ended up doing, the dominoes just started to fall. And we ended up doing, I think it was 8 out of 10 of their stores in the Chicagoland area. So that was really cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's dig a little deeper where some of the common stories that we'll hear, or when I'm talking to people is, they went to college, they did this, they ended up in this career, then they ended up in the cleaning industry.
Right.
Did you ever leave the cleaning industry?
No. This is all. I've never worked for anybody else other than family business. And for one summer, I worked at the local car wash because 2 of my buddies worked there, so I did it just for fun.
Yeah.
And I already had my business going, so it's funny because I was working there. I was making $3.25 an hour because that was minimum wage back then. Woo. And I had employees that I was paying $10 an hour to do cleaning.
So you're working less.
Yeah, but again, I wasn't there for the money. I was just there for fun. It was 7 to 3 every Saturday and every Sunday, and it was we were just there having a good time, having fun. Nice. But yeah, so I cleaned all the way through high school and went to college and got a degree, and just by the time I was ready to graduate, I looked at it and I was like, I've got a good business going here. In fact, my student counselor called me and he said, hey, Tim, I'm concerned. We've had several job fairs and you haven't been at one. And I said, well, honestly, I'm not looking for a job. Well, he just scratched his head. He didn't understand that. Yeah. So in hindsight,
he didn't take it serious.
No, he had no idea. But in hindsight, I realized I should have been there because I could have recruited some good people.
Ooh, that's true. You could have had your own mini job.
Could have jump-started my business at that point. But at that point, it just continued to grow. And it's somewhere in there, I don't remember what year it was, but a dialysis center moved into my dad's building, and they took over the entire second floor, which was very cool. But they said, hey, you don't have the OSHA requirements for you don't have an exposure control plan, and you don't know how to clean in medical, so we can't let you clean inside in the treatment room. But it's fine, you can clean the offices and the common areas because that was included in their rent. And about 6 months into it, I got a phone call from their purchasing manager downtown. And he's like, Tim, he goes, you got to come down here because I'm having problems. And I thought, I messed up. I'm going to lose this account. And so I drove downtown, going to his office. I said, what's the problem? He goes, I'm getting complaints from the staff. I'm getting complaints from the patients that are sitting in there. I said, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. He goes, no. He goes, I'm not getting complaints about you. He goes, I'm getting complaints in the treatment room. He goes, because they're sitting in their chairs for dialysis for 3 hours at a time, and they're looking at dirty floors, and it's a problem. He goes, so I need you to figure out what you need to get certified so you can clean medical, and so you can do this for us. I was like, all right, great.
So Tim, how old were you when that was going on?
That was I was probably 20, 21.
So think about that, right? Like anybody who's listening and watching right now is 21 years old. And you're dealing with purchasing managers, right? You're dealing with dialysis centers. They probably have, if you have a purchasing manager, you're a big company,
absolutely.
Right? Like if you have procurement.
Yeah.
So 21 years old, again, at that age, you would think, did you have trouble people taking you professionally?
In the beginning, I did, but once AT&T got, when that was a client, they gave us a letter of referral. So now I'm walking around, I've got a letter of reference from a Fortune 100 company. That opened some doors, so that changed things. And then when this dialysis company, who later got bought up by one of the big national companies, but they had, I think they had 18 locations in Chicago, and it went from Gurnee was the furthest north, and it went as far as South Holland. And again, they just fell like dominoes, and we ended up cleaning every location for them.
Wow, and that's a great feeling.
Oh, right? It was fantastic.
When you have that type of client, and that's why I'm always big on when people say, how do you grow and scale? You need some of those. You need multi-location sites.
Absolutely.
Because that expands your reach.
Right. But I had no idea what I was doing.
But you, yeah.
I was like, there's like 90 miles between these locations. I don't even know what to do to cover them.
Because then it's logistics, right?
Right.
Now
Yeah.
it's logistics.
Yeah. So I was fortunate. One of the guys that I hired, he goes, I can find people for you. He's like, I can, run them through. I can train them, and he worked for me for a long time. And really, that was, he helped me in the area where I had no clue what I would have done otherwise. Okay. So it worked out really well.
So this is the beginning years. Now talk about Image One.
Yeah.
Like when did Image One come into play? How was it birthed? Where does the name come from?
Right. Right.
Stories like that.
So continued to go all through high school, all through college, and I graduated college in 1992. Got married later that year to my wife Maria. We celebrated 28 years just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, thank you. That's huge. And so we just kept growing the business. And
was she involved?
A little bit.
Okay.
I mean, when we were dating, because we started dating when we were like 18, 19 years old, and so she'd go to work with me in the nights. Because the faster I was done cleaning, then the more time we got to spend with each other.
Put the work in. You gotta help.
Yeah. So and when we first got married, it was she and I were doing a lot of the cleaning, and when we first had kids, she'd stay home with our son, and I'd go out and I would do the cleaning and stuff, and it was a family operation.
Well, you gotta say that to me that's a great feeling when your wife or your mom or your cousin or sister, like when they're working with you and your wife can't stay home.
Right.
Because what are you doing? You're building a legacy business.
Exactly. And so really it was built as a family business. I never imagined that it would ever turn into a franchise.
Okay.
That was never on the radar. And one day I got a letter in the mail, and I used to get letters all the time. People want to buy your company, people want to sell you their company or whatever it is, and I was just tossed them in the garbage. But one day, for whatever reason, I opened this one up, I read it. I was like, I'm going to see what this guy has to offer and see what he has to say. And so it was a letter that said basically he had bought the rights for a master franchise for the Chicago market, but he knew nothing about the janitorial industry. So he was looking for people to partner with that knew the Chicago market, knew about cleaning. So I thought, I'm going to go check this out and see what this guy has to say. So we did a 10-year agreement with a national franchise, and when that agreement expired at the end of 2010, we decided that we wanted to do things differently, because all the national franchises kind of operate the same way, and I wanted to do something that was different.
So you were still working, or you were a franchisor of a franchise,
right? So we were a master franchise. So we had bought a franchise, and then we were selling unit franchises in the Chicago market. Okay. And so when that expired, that's when Image One was born.
Okay.
And we're going to celebrate 10 years. Actually, we were incorporated October of 2010.
So it's not that. 10 years it's fairly not new, but it's still new.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been 10 years that we've been franchising, almost 10 years we've been franchising under the name Image One.
Okay.
And we're in 6 states now. Chicago's our stronghold because this is where we've been forever, since 1985. And, we're in Florida and Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, Colorado, and Texas.
Nice.
So, and we've got a couple other ones that are looking good, that are going to be a couple new expansions, hopefully right towards the end of this year, but again next year.
Nice. Yeah. And you guys too, I brought Tim on for a reason too, and that, he's a great guy already, as you can see, and you can hear the story, but franchises. I get a lot of questions about franchise. Should I franchise? Who should I franchise with? Well, I mean, you'll learn more as we continue, but this is a great example of a franchise that operates a little differently, right? So let's talk about differently. Like what, there's a cool trademark that I saw on your website, the teleclean system, right? But explain what differentiates. Is that what differentiates you guys? Or
there is so much that differentiates us. One of the things in the IntelliClean process is it's an entire systematic process for developing customized quotes for the clients, and we've got an iPad app that interacts with that we developed, and that was really the beginning of our technology, and that's one of the things that really sets us apart is our technology. Yeah. I mean, as you know,
which is another reason why I brought him on. Is this guy loves tech like we do, so when you showed us that at the show too, it's like Rick, but it's proprietary, so it's for you guys, right? We're trying to be commercialized, but it's. You've got the same vision. Yeah. Speak on it.
Technology is huge. It started with just a single iPad app, just to gather the data when you're walking through a client's facility. And, this was 2011, and I went to the Apple store and I said, hey, I want to build an app. I said, but I can't do it myself. Who do I call? And the business rep there, he's like, well, I'll give you three three options. You can basically call two guys in a garage, and you can get like a good app for $5,000, or you can get this middle range company. It'll probably cost you about $25,000. Or you can go with like one of the companies that build them for big companies. He goes, you're going to spend $50,000. He goes, call all three.
Yeah.
So I did, and met with the guys that were the two guys in the garage, which actually they weren't in a garage.
Yeah.
they were actually renting space in the back of an attorney's office.
Okay.
But I met with them, and I thought, you know what, it's $5,000. That was a lot of money at the time, but I was like, you know what, it's a lot less than what the other guys would do, and I've wasted more than that on worse ideas. Yeah. So I had a good feeling about them, and so they developed the app for us, and it was great.
Nice.
And so we started walking in again 10 years ago, walking into client facilities, and the even now, I mean, when most competitors go out, they're going out there with a legal pad and a pencil,
Pen and paper,
and they're writing stuff down, and probably when they go back to their office, they're using abacus to calculate. So they don't even have a calculator.
They don't even have a calculator. No, keep talking.
So we were big on the technology, So it's like we when the laser measuring came out, we were like immediately jump on the laser measurers because it's more professional than counting ceiling tiles or using the wheel or things like that. Even though those methods work,
but
it's not as efficient. It's not as professional.
Laser's polished.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so the app, by the time you finish walking through the client's facility, you've got a price. Mm-hmm. There's no work to do. So you can bounce a number off of the client, and if you're in the right ballpark. If they didn't want to share their budget, you can tell them, hey, it's going to be $2,300, and they're going to say, oh, you're way over, or wow, you're right on. But before you even walk out, which is good. And if they say, no, it's too high, we can say, all right, well, we can go through and customize it and maybe eliminate some things that we recommend you do. But if we eliminate them, we can get it down to your budget of $1,900 or whatever.
But we're doing apples to apples.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was the first app, and that was where it all started. And then we decided to just keep building on that. Mm-hmm. And we'd use some other company software, but we had, you've got a CRM, and you've got inspection software, and you've got mapping software, and there's like 17 different things. Yeah. It's like we have all these different logins and all these different things, and it was just confusing. And I was like, I just want it all to be in one place, and because we are a franchise, branding is important. And I said, I want to have proprietary software for us that everything is under one umbrella, and it's ours.
And it's yours.
We own it.
Yeah.
And so we went back to those developers and said, "Can you do this?" And they said, "Yeah, we can do anything."
Yeah.
Because by that time now they've grown into a big company.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they developed an entire portfolio of software for us. So we do our proposals, our inspections, customer relations, prospecting management. It's all done in one place. And then on top of that, we do all the accounting in the same software.
Okay.
So we do all of our billing, all of our collections. Our collection or our billing department does that all in house here.
I mean, so
They do it all.
It's a franchise dream. Right?
Yeah.
Like because I could see how it is difficult to have so many different solutions and softwares that you have to use.
Right.
But for you guys, it's just one less step the franchisee.
That's exactly it. Well, yeah, I remember, and I'm almost embarrassed to admit it, that there were jobs when I was small that we went out and we did, and we never even sent a bill, never got paid for them because I was so busy. I didn't do it, and then by the time I realized that, I was embarrassed to send it.
Like 60 days later, you're like,
no, more like 6 months later. There was a big job that we did. It was out at Edwards Hospital in Naperville. When they were renovating, and we went in, we stripped and waxed a whole bunch of floors from it. It was several $1,000s.
Oh my God!
Never even billed them for it.
It's on us. You go back, you're like, oh, no,
you know what though? People pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go to college. So when there's a mistake, when there's an error that we make, I chalk it up to it's like paying for a class.
Yeah.
It's less expensive than what a semester at college is.
True.
So I don't have an issue with that.
Another thing I wanted to touch on, because I feel like you've got sales is one big part of our industry, right? But human capital management training, right?
Yep.
So when you're picking franchisees, or people are coming to you to start a business under your umbrella, how big is training? Like, what does training look like for him?
Training is huge, and again, branding is so important for us that we did all of our own training videos. They're all available on our software so that when a franchise owner is getting trained, they can view them all there.
Okay.
They can have all their employees log in. It shows who's watched the videos, that they've watched the entire video, so that
Just
so
forward
they
to
know
the
that
end,
it's done.
click.
No, it actually shows the amount of time that was spent
Yeah,
on the
like 3
video and
seconds. What do
everything.
you mean? It's a
Right,
15-minute video.
exactly.
Okay.
So it tracks all that. So it keeps track of that they know that their employees have actually gone through it. And when we do training, we'll bring someone into Chicago. They'll spend a week here learning about everything from sales and operations to telemarketing to walking out and cold calling, joining your local chamber, doing all the things that we know you need to do to grow a business. But people that are new don't
know all
necessarily
that.
understand that. Yeah. And so we train them on all of that. And then after they're done with their week in Chicago, and they go out and they work with a local franchise owner here to clean a car dealership or a school.
Like one of
or
each
anything
location
else.
type.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So they
okay.
kind of get hands-on and they really know what they're doing. And then after that, then we go out to their market and we'll spend a week in their market doing sales with them, side by side, hand in hand, walking door to door, going to networking events, whatever they need. And we'll spend a week there the first month, and then the next month we'll go and we'll spend another week with them. And some franchise owners, if they really need it, we'll go every month. We'll spend a week there every single month for the first year.
I mean, so
until
you're
they're
really
good.
you're involved.
Oh, we
You
give them
guys
a ton
are,
of
you guys
support.
are heavily involved in the
Yeah,
fir-
way
especially
more
the
than
first
what.
year.
Yeah, way more than what most franchisors do for any franchise company, not just in the cleaning business, but in any industry.
Well, I mean, because that's this. Their success is your success.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
Now,
it.
how does because in the industry, turnover is bad,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, how is turnover for you guys then?
So obviously,
How do you look at turnover?
turnover for the franchisee? Our franchise owners stick with us a long time. I've got guys that have been with us since 2003. For them, for their employees, it's a challenge. It's just like any other traditional janitorial company. You got to find the right people. You have to treat them right. You have to pay them right. And then if it's a good person and you're treating them good, hopefully they're going to stick around a long time.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be turnover in our industry. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. And you hear scary statistics that sometimes it's 300-400%
That's
turnover,
crazy.
and that's insane.
insane,
And I know that our franchise owners don't have anything near that. So I don't know if that's just a
I feel like
a
that's
pretend
scary,
statistic that doesn't exist, or if it's true. I'd love to know if someone could ever really dial
some
into that and
data,
figure it out
yeah.
and get the data behind that statistic.
So, Tim, what about? So this is something I tell a lot of anybody I talk to in Facebook groups and just at the conventions. I feel like the success I had was because first 2 years I was doing it all. I was wearing every hat. I know you guys, you may not tell franchisees this, but like, do you give them advice to say, hey, you guys really need to, perform a lot of these services yourself, or if you want to learn carpet cleaning, learn it yourself first, right? Is that something that you recommend?
they need to understand everything that they're doing, absolutely. So that they some franchise owners will jump into it, and if they've got a large amount of capital to invest, they'll start big and they'll hire a salesperson right away. They'll hire an operations manager to start managing accounts as they're getting them. But that's typically the exception.
Yeah,
that's
probably the
not the
exception,
norm. Usually, people they start out, they'll do the sales, they'll start cleaning those accounts that they understand it, because they really do need to understand how long it takes to perform a job, and so they know that if they get a 6,000 square foot office building and they think it's going to take, based on industry standards, let's say 2 hours to clean it, but their employee's saying it's taking them 3 hours, and they don't know.
You don't
So
know
they're saying,
that.
all right, well, I'll pay you for 3 hours. Well, now all of a sudden it's not a profitable account, because it was bid right, but they've got an employee that's telling them it's not, and they don't know because they don't have enough time invested to understand it.
Yep.
But again, that's some of the stuff we help them with, and we'll walk through the steps and the process with that, and help get that stuff back into alignment if necessary.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Awesome. So a topic I wanted to discuss is obviously COVID. Right? So we can go on and on about that, but like where, you in the mastermind group that we're in, you brought up some great examples of products that you're using and processes that you're doing.
Right.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. So early into the whole COVID situation, I saw it and I thought, I don't think it's going to be as bad as what some people think, but we got to be prepared for it. We got to see what we can do. So I immediately ordered electrostatic sprayers because I'd seen those over the years, but
I've seen them everywhere.
Never had a need for them.
Yeah.
Never bought one, never owned one until that hit, and then we ordered a bunch. And I'm glad we did, because when we got them, I tried to order more like 2 weeks later, and they were gone. I mean, nobody had them any place
And
nationwide.
then everybody's charging twice as much.
Yeah. But that was our pivot. You know, it was like, okay, we're going to have this so that we're prepared. We're going to train our franchise owners on going out and doing electrostatic spraying. And then we started doing more and more research. And, you know, I think our industry, the cleaning industry, is really not recognized for the knowledge that so many of us have, because we've done a lot of the research. We've done our homework on the products that are out there and you know, all the issues that are there.
But now we're in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Now I always say this too, is clients are educating me now sometimes on the labels of the chemicals, and I'm like, whoa, you know the EPA list on they know, so so we have to know, right? You better know.
But it's stuff they never ever looked at in the past.
No, never.
Now they know.
Yeah.
You know, now they know that they know certain questions to ask.
Yeah.
And to me,
Which you should've.
education is so important. You know, and it's always been about educating our customers. Our industry, for years and years and years, we've always heard that we try to explain to the clients that we should be cleaning for health. And that's been really an important cornerstone in the industry for a long time. But the clients for years and years and years have pushed back on that. And they say, you know, we want it clean for appearance.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't care about health. And that's unfortunate, because there's a big difference between cleaning for appearance and cleaning for health.
Oh, yeah.
And now I think the spotlight is on cleaning, and people do understand, hey, we really do need to clean for health, whether it's a school or a daycare center or a health and fitness, a gym, a doctor's office, you know, whatever it is. And I think that, you know, the cleaning industry is finally getting some of the recognition that it deserves.
Yeah.
And the people that are on the front lines are getting the recognition that they deserve, because I think prior to this, people looked at people that were doing cleaning as, you know, it's just cleaning.
Yeah.
They're just janitors.
Oh,
and that's a bad attitude.
It's a bad
I've never
attitude
looked
in
at that
general.
with people. You know, a funny story, when my wife and I went to her class reunion, I can't remember if it was her 10-year high school reunion or, it was probably her 10-year class reunion. And she made some comment to me like, you know, what are you going to tell people you do? I said, I'm going to tell them I'm a janitor.
I'm a janitor. I got a plumber in the office.
And she's like, you better not. And I said, why? I said, you know, you're pulling up in a brand new Escalade. You know, we're doing very well. It's my business. You know, we're doing good. And she's like, yeah, you're right. And you know, the business has grown. Exactly. The business has grown so much beyond that. You know, at this point, you know, and it doesn't have that same stigmatism to her.
Yeah.
But you know, even you know, her at that point, you know, it was just like,
Just
you know,
to
I'm
say
not
that,
so
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's the consensus of people as a whole in a lot of cases.
Oh, yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. But I think with everything that's happened, it's getting better, and people recognize.
'Cause it's not a
that there's such
glamorous
value.
industry.
No, it's not.
You know?
It's not.
But look, we're having fun right now.
Absolutely.
Having some cocktails,
Absolutely.
talking about cleaning,
Yeah.
and it's how we perceive it to be,
Right,
right?
right.
So that's why I love the industry. I love what we do. And Tim, what do you? So I mean, you're a guy with so many years of experience. Kudos for always staying with it too. A couple things is, I mean, where do you see this going in 5, 10, 15 years? As far as the industry, like, obviously we know technology is a big piece, but I mean, there's so many topics we could say, but you, from your personal experience, seeing the last 10, 20 years of what's happened, what's the future look like?
Right. Yeah, you know, there's been a lot of changes over, you know, the 35 years I've been in the industry. You know, the big technology, you know, a long time ago, I think it was in the mid 80s was when backpack vacuums first came out. That was like high tech. You know, I used to laugh because I'd put it on when I was going around to places when I was doing cleaning, and they'd like, you know, you look like Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Everyone always said that, you know, and I think even now people say that. You know, and then the big step then was battery powered backpacks, and the cost was super expensive, and I was like, I'll never buy those. And then I tried one. And I was like, this is awesome. It's such freedom to be able to like run in around cubicles and not get your cord stuck and not have to trace your steps backwards.
Yeah.
You know, so that was huge technology. And I think robotics is going to be a huge change in our industry. And I think it's a necessity because labor is becoming more and more difficult to get to do a lot of these jobs. So if you can eliminate, you know, one person that you would normally have to have as your crew, and still have two in the building that are doing the other things that, you know, the robot can't do. I think that's really where the future is going to change our industry again.
That's funny you say that. I have the SoftBank guys, the Wiz. They're coming.
coming
They're
in.
coming to the office
Thursday
this week.
Awesome.
They're flying in from San Francisco. They just delivered 2 machines that I just got them today. But yeah, robotics.
Yeah.
You know, like you would never think. I was the same as you with the battery backpack. I was like, nah, I'm not paying $1,200 for that thing. Are you
Right.
crazy? And then these robots come out. Again, I said no, but then I started to understand that it increases productivity, right?
Right.
And it's like, if you win big business and you've got accounts that you're like, man, if I can only shave 30 minutes,
Right.
you know, times 5, times 4 weeks in
Yep.
a month, that's money on the bottom line.
Absolutely.
So it's almost like we got to put our guard down. You know, they're not going to replace technicians.
Right.
We're going to manage
Right.
those robotics. So what about, now let's talk about that person who's been in the business for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. COVID hits.
Right.
You might have lost a lot of business. But remember, when it's bad times, there's opportunity.
Right,
So like,
right.
what would you say to them as far as how to have a positive outlook?
Right. You know, again, it depends on the individual. You know, some people, it affected their business drastically and they kind of shriveled up and they may not recover from it. You know, other people like you, like me, our franchise owners, they embraced change. They went out and they started doing electrostatic spraying. They started doing disinfection services, all these different things that they added to their list of services that they didn't do before. So they may have actually grown their business in a time that everyone else's business was shrinking.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the one thing. I think any business, no matter what your industry, no matter, you know, what you're doing, you need to be able to pivot when there's a change.
Yeah.
You know, if IBM didn't pivot from the typewriter,
Oh yeah.
you know, they would have been out of business.
There would be no IBM.
Right.
No acronym.
Because I don't think there are many typewriters
No.
out there anymore. so
So
that's the key, and I would say that to anybody. And again, you know, there's some businesses where they hit a ceiling and they don't know how to get to the next level. You know, so they can join, you know, BSCAI or the ISSA or a small peer group, and they may get all the answers that they want.
Yeah.
You know, there's other people that, you know, I've got one that I'm talking to right now, a guy that's been in the business for 10 years, and he was struggling, and he called me up, and he actually wants to buy a franchise. And he's going to rebrand his company, and and because he knows that we have the systems and the processes to help him get his business to the next
It's
level,
support.
because he was struggling to do it.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And I love being able to help people to do that.
Because
And-
it's confidence too,
Yeah.
right? Like anything that builds confidence helps you just be a better business owner, be a better person, just
Definitely.
be better at everything.
Definitely.
So we always end, Tim, and you jumped on a funny story earlier, but give us a funny story of Tim, maybe in the early ages or recently, in the field, either performing cleaning
All right.
with a client. What do you
Well,
got?
the probably the worst story,
Okay,
which I can laugh at it now.
I've got some bad ones that I've already
I
shared.
can laugh at it now, but at the time, it wasn't funny. This goes back to probably like 1998, 99. The only reason I know that is because it was a 97 van. And I had an old cargo van that had died. The transmission went out on it. So I gave one of the guys that was doing work for me my brand new 97 Astro van that I used for my family.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden the guy disappeared. And so I called the police and said, hey, I think my vehicle's been stolen. I gave them the license plate number. And they said, oh, you're the second person today to report it stolen.
Come on, what? Oh, so he got it
So,
stolen.
well, he reported it stolen.
He didn't tell you anything.
It was after New Year's Eve, and as it turned out, when I got the vehicle back, it turned out that the employee, who had been a model employee up to this point, supposedly the van was traded for a rock of crack cocaine.
Come on,
I
oh my!
swear.
You can't make that up.
Yeah, so there were gang symbols burned into the headliner of the truck. It was smashed on the front and the back. It was a mess. It was
Oh
a
my
disaster.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's-
So
you can-
again, now I can
now
laugh
you
at
can
it.
laugh.
20 years later, I can laugh at it. At the time, I was like devastated. Brand new vehicle. We had just gotten it, and
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. But strange things happen when you're in business for
Yeah.
yourself.
Well, hey, let's cheers, Tim. Thank you so much. I hope everybody appreciated this. If you guys, please subscribe to the podcast, to the YouTube channel. We'll have it down at the bottom of the link. And Tim, again, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And all right, guys. Till next time.